Nacho Sundays, every Sunday at 6 p.m. Live on YouTube on the EBL exclusive Battle League Network. Hosted by FiboNacci Brown.
Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays. Nacho cheese, beefy, nacho veggie, nacho supreme, nacho Sunday.
Nacho Sundays. Where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. Hosted by FiboNacci Brown.
Nacho Sundays. Nacho cheese, beefy, nacho veggie, nacho supreme,
Nacho Sundays. Where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. Hosted by FiboNacci Brown.
Nacho Sundays. Nacho cheese, beefy, nacho veggie, nacho supreme, nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays.
Hosted by FiboNacci Brown. Don't forget to go to FiboNacciBrown.com to get your copy of Growing Down.
Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays.
Brought to you by the exclusive Battle League Network. EBL.
Thank you. Okay, well, thanks everybody for heading over here to Nacho Sundays on this season 2, episode 7, where it's Nacho's opinion, not your opinion. And we've got a lot to talk about. We got a lot coming up. And between now and the next 2 weeks, there's going to be quite a few things happening that I know are going to set the social sphere ablaze. So I want to start talking about some of those things. But first, all of my Nachotarians know the first thing we're going to do is get our announcements out of the way. So let's get to some of these announcements so we can start digging into our nacho, okay? So first off, one of the first things I want to talk about is my album. As you guys know, I am a rap artist as well as a podcast host and a published author. And I have an album coming out along with my better half called Scription Volume 2. And we are going to be releasing that album this spring, but we have already got our single out there floating in the YouTube streets called Oplings. Make sure you go over to Scription Volume. That's ScriptionVol on YouTube. And you can check out our video on that channel. It's called Oplings. Now, let me tell you guys, first of all, an Opling is any opposition. So anybody in opposition, yeah, you that's your oppling. So, these beings that want to be out here opposing you and causing trouble, those are called your opplings. So that song is going to be about opplings and how you can address them when you come across them. So make sure you head over to YouTube and check that out on our Scription Volume channel. And that album is called Scription Volume 2. And again, the song is called Oplings. Also, as I mentioned previously, I am a published author. I've written a book called Growing Down, The Observation of the Masculinization of the Black American Woman, Volume 1. There will be additional books in the series, but this is the first installment. And I discuss some heavy material in that book, things that I feel attack the femininity of the Black woman in this country, and things we can do to recognize it and reclaim our feminine position. So I'm hoping that you guys head over to FiboNacciBrown.com so you can get your copy. That's FiboNacciBrown.com. And check out our website. You'll see some of the other media links that I have over there. And you'll also be able to purchase your copy of Growing Down at the introductory rate. Now, if you're like, Nachi, I've heard you say your name 1,000 times, but listen, I don't know how to spell that stuff. Well, look right above my head, Fibonacci Brown. Do that.com and it'll take you right to the website. So make sure you check that out. And then getting into some of the EBL cookings that are going on and coming up. EBL is definitely the partner platform that we have here with Fibonacci Brown's channel, and that's EBL Exclusive Battle League. If it ain't exclusive, it don't matter. And is in Battle League, they are a battle rap league where they are the kings pretty much of the audio sphere when it comes to battle rap. A lot of attention is given to live battles where you can actually physically go in to see the battles. But I know when COVID hit, it made it difficult for people to actually come face to face to do battles. Well, there was an audio sphere where you could do audio battles where you could cam up, or you could just battle over a speaker or a microphone and still be able to entertain, get some wins under your belt through the battle rap audio sphere. So EBL is a forerunner and pioneer in that area. And from what I can tell, just about every face that we have seen that is popular, quite a few of those faces have come through the EBL platform. So EBL is definitely a pioneer in that area. And they're still doing big things. So speaking of big things, they are partnering with Baz from Bar You to Death for his 45th birthday bash. So now say this 5 times fast. Baz Bar You to Death 45th birthday bash. Say that 5 times fast and see how tongue-tied you get. But yes, Baz is having a 45th birthday bash, and he's going to be doing that, and it's going to be live. So I know I just said all that good stuff about EBL being the forerunners and pioneers in the audio sphere, but they're actually going to be collaborating with Baz and Bar You to Death to do a live event. Now, I have seen the collaborations between Bar You to Death and EBL in the past, and they have all been phenomenal, spectacular events. What has really got me ready to kind of see what is going on is that this event is going to be live. So if you are in the New York area, you will be able to pull up to this event and check out what's going on with Baz for his 45th birthday card. Some great names are going to be on there. From what I can tell, I'm not going to go through all of the names because this is a pretty packed card. So if you do decide to pull up to this event live, understand that this is a packed card. You're going to be there. This is your day. Okay. So you're not coming for some 2-hour concert and then you're going home. No. Nope. This is going to be a long event because there are quite a few names on this card, quite a few battles. Some of those battles are Revenue versus Greg the Great. Now, for those of you who are tuning in and can see my chat, Greg the Great is in the chat. He will definitely be battling on that Baz birthday card against Revenue. So I am really eager to kind of see how that happens. So even though I might not be able to pull up to the live event, I don't know. I would love to be able to see this on somebody's video because I'm thinking this is going to be one of those ones. So additionally, there's going to be Brills versus Young Ro. Now, Brills is no stranger to live battles, and I always say this. I know he's probably sick of me mentioning this, but if you've ever talked to Brills or had an opportunity to have a conversation with Brills, his tone and the way that he speaks and carries himself, he is one of the most calm speaking people that I know. Like even when he's upset, he sounds calm. It's just very, chill when he talks. But when he raps, you won't even think it's the same person. Like if you heard him talk and then you went like into, another room and came back and then heard him rap, you wouldn't think it was the same person. So Brills is definitely the entertainer when it comes to these battle raps live. And I don't think he's going to let anybody down on Baz's birthday card on April 7th. So additionally, we've got DC Banga versus Miss Petty. Now, If you ever seen Miss Petty battle, I personally have never seen Miss Petty come short. Like, she's always prepared. She's always in the pocket on her round. I look forward to me a Miss Petty verse. I'm just not going to hold up. So I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with DC Banger, and I'm not trying to take anything away from that person. All I'm saying is that this is Miss Petty. And if you are not prepared, it's going to show. So I'm going to just leave it there. It's going to show. So I think that's going to be a good one. Also, Stoned and Jay Normus are going against each other. So listen, Jay Normus is another one of them ones. And I know, like, everybody's like, Nachi, you just being biased because those are some EBL familiars, and you just side with EBL. And part of that is true. I'm not going to hold you up. But I also want to let you know that the people that I am citing, they have incredible lyrical ability. And I don't see these people being unprepared to participate in this live event, especially because it's a live event. Nerves can be different, chatter can be different, expectations, preparation, all of that can be different in a live event. And although some of these people are no stranger to a live event, we do have a confirmed battle where it's going to be the first time. That battle is going to be Miss Vicious versus I Am Bars. Now, those of you who know who I Am Bars is, she's no stranger to live battles, but this will be the first for Miss Vicious. So she is also, well, actually, both ladies will be traveling from where they are to come into the battle. So kudos to both of them for traveling out of state to come and do this for the Bass birthday card. And I'm looking forward to this battle. Now, it's not the only female battle on the card. Like I said, Miss Petty is on this card. So we already, got some good battles. And this is definitely icing on the cake. I know that Miss Vicious has been on quite the rise since she has made her debut in the audio sphere. And this being her first live battle, I'm just looking forward to seeing much of her climb to the top with this being a great one for her resume. I Am Bars is a veteran at this. She's no stranger to live battles. She's very seasoned. So I'm pretty sure that she will be prepared and will not let us down when it comes to giving us a good battle with Miss Vicious. So kudos and shouts out to both ladies, and safe travels to you ladies. Like I said, you guys are coming in from out of state to New York to do this battle. So I'm really hoping that everything goes well. Like I said, it's packed event. It's a packed event, meaning the card. There's going to be quite the battles on here. So, I just hope it's a great event. It's a birthday event for Bass. So, happy almost birthday to him. And I'm just hoping that, it goes off without a hitch. I'm looking forward to it. And I need to see some stuff live. So even if you can't put it on the YouTube, I need something in my inbox. I need to see what's going on. I need to know. So that on that. And I think that I know Brills is in the New York area. King, who is the leader, so to speak, of EBL and is the face of the EBL brand exclusive battle league, he is also in the New York area. So I'm thinking that we are going to be able to get some footage from somewhere, from somebody, so they can let me know how this battle is going, because I'm excited. I'm excited for everybody who's participating. I pray that everybody does great. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes down. So that's that on that. And before I get out of the announcements, I want you guys to remember, again, I am doing a kind of like a survey, grabbing feedback to see what you guys think about me doing a caveat to the show called the Nacho Stand, where it's Nacho Stand Music. And Nacho Stand Music will be where I'm able to debut new music from artists who are in the Nachotarian family or who watch the show. I'm thinking, because I'm an artist, I also have a need to want to give back. So I want to be able to share new artist music on my platform. If I have to do a separate show called Nacho Stand where we can dedicate the hour to debuting new music, Let me know if that's something you guys are interested in. Don't be afraid to email me, contact me on social media, on Instagram, on X, and let me know. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm really thinking about doing it. I've gotten a little feedback so far, but I just want to make sure before I put all the effort in that you guys are really going to tune in and listen to some great music, because I got my music and I got a few people in mind that have some great music that I would love to display on the show. But I want to make sure this is something that you guys really want to see and would be interested in. So Nacho Stand Music, let me know if that's something you guys are into. I'm thinking about it. I'm considering it. So now, again, I told you guys Greg the Great is going to be battling Revenue on the April 7th card for Baz's birthday from Bar You to Death. And he is putting quite the details in the chat. Speaking of the chat, let's slide over there to see what we got going on. Greg has given us the Brooklyn Rules Baz's 45th birthday bash by way of Bar You to Death, an exclusive battle league, is going down on April 7th. 2024. So he's giving you those details. He's also letting us know that it's going to be held at the Oracle Lounge in Brooklyn, New York. Tickets are $25. So yes, if you plan on pulling up, make sure you got that hot quarter piece, $25 to get in so you can enjoy that live event, which I'm sure will be worth every dime. So kudos to Greg for putting those details in the chat. I see my favorite 2-1 is in the chat. Hey. He said, Nacho Sunday. I appreciate that. And I appreciate my viewing audience, you guys who are tuning in with me on this Sunday. I know that you could have been anywhere doing anything, but you decided to hang out with me. So I appreciate you coming over here to Nacho Sundays, where it's Nacho opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. And speaking of that, I was thinking that when I show my commercials and, different video for my support team, I don't have a disclaimer. And I know last season I had a disclaimer, but I thought about it. And I said, it is Nacho Sundays, disclaimer, where it's Nacho opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. So hopefully that'll be enough to not pull anybody else into the things that I say on this show other than me, because they're my opinions. So I'm hoping that I won't need a disclaimer other than this is not your opinion. It's Nacho's opinion. I don't want anybody getting in trouble for the things that come out of my mouth. Okay. So with that said, we are getting ready to slide into our Nacho. And those of you who tune in know that the first part of the Nacho that we began to get into is the Nacho cheese. And in the Nacho cheese section of the show, we talk about money. Ways to make our money work for us, ways to understand our money, just so that we know what we're doing when it comes to money, financial awareness, So this week, we are going to talk about a couple of car buying tips. Now, I know you guys are like, where did this come from? Well, let me tell you. Recently, I had been saying that I needed to look at getting a new vehicle. I was driving a 2018, and before I began to pour a lot of money into it to just get it prepared with tune-ups and replacement parts and the like, I wanted to make sure that, is this something I want to continue to keep driving? It's got mileage on it. It's got normal wear and tear. It's a really good car otherwise, but it's kind of getting up there. Usually cars tend to reveal themselves once they have quite a few miles on them, and mine did. So just so happens, I get this letter in the mail. And this letter says, we understand you have a 2018 or 2016 to 2018 vehicle that we want. Why don't you call us up, make an appointment, and come on down so we could talk about your car, and we'll buy the car from you. Or, we can trade it in to get another vehicle that we might have on our lot. I'm like, okay, I wasn't thinking about it like that, but sure. Well, I wanted to do some homework to make sure that I did not get taken when it came to buying a car. Because many times when we have a vehicle that has money owed on it, where we financed it, we've paid a car note, and then, we're thinking about maybe getting another car. Sometimes we'll go to the car dealership, like, I've got to be able to pay off my car if I can't even look at a new car until I pay off my other car. That is your first mistake. Before you go into a car dealership, the first thing I'm going to suggest that you do, no matter what the circumstance is, when it comes to you having a trade-in, know the value of your vehicle. Now, the fastest way to find out how much your vehicle is worth is you go to the Kelley Blue Book. Now, if you go to Kelley Blue Book, you should be able to put your VIN number in among some other things, other details about your vehicle, and it should be able to tell you how much your vehicle is. The second thing you want to do is compare that to how much you owe on your vehicle. If you owe less than the vehicle is worth, you are going to go into the car dealership at an advantage. Now, if you owe more than the car is worth, you are what is considered upside down in your loan. And I want to hopefully give you some tips so that you don't find yourself upside down in a loan when it comes to a car deal or financing a vehicle and trading in a vehicle. So here's the deal. Like I said, first thing you want to do, you want to know how much your vehicle is worth. You want to go to Kelley Blue Book. You might want to cross-reference that with some other car apps, maybe Carfax, Carvana, so on and so forth, and compare that to what you owe. Now, if your vehicle is worth more than what you owe, when you go into the dealership that sent you this letter, what you don't want to do is tell them, A, how much you owe on the car at first, and B, you want to make sure you find out what they're willing to give you for your car. Now, if what they're willing to give you for your car does not exceed and cover A, what you owe on the car, and B, what you would have to put down on a new car, not a good deal. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because these car companies or these dealerships, sometimes they try to keep up with inventory, and the way that they do that is to try to entice people who have vehicles they want to come in and sell their car to them in exchange for maybe a newer car or a different car. But the way that they try to make their money is in the financing. So let's say you got a car that's worth $5,000. Okay. You owe $3,000. I'm going to suggest that if they say, well, how much do you owe on your car? You're going to say, well, I owe less than what it's worth. And they're going to keep pressing you, but you withhold that information until you get an offer on your car. Now, secondly, some of these car dealerships will try to take what you owe, and they'll say, do you see anything on our lot that you like? Do you see anything you maybe want to test drive or get into? And you'll be like, I like the shiny silver one. And that car is $15,000. And I know I'm using rather low numbers, but this is just for the sake of conversation. Let's say you see a car, I like the shiny one over there for $15,000. And you tell them up front, I owe $3,000 on my car. They're going to immediately jack that finance rate up to $18,000. Because you told them how much you owed up front, they're already going to say, well, in order for us to pay off your vehicle, we got to, roll this over into this loan, which they don't. Because if you know that your vehicle is worth more than what you owe, the ball is in your court. So make sure that you let them know, hey, I'm not really interested in divulging my personal business until I find out why you sent me this letter. You believe I have value in my car. I need to see how much in order to keep sitting. So if you're going to negotiate and you know that your car is worth more than what you owe on it, you have to be able to hold your cards close to the vest so that they don't try these finance tricks that normally put you in a higher payment bracket so that you're paying some ridiculous note for not enough car. Okay. Second thing you want to do. The rule is usually you want to be able to pay off the car within 48 months. So we're talking 48. We're talking 4 years. And the maximum that you want to finance a car for is 60 months. That's 5 years. Now, if you have to finance a car 72 months, 84 months, financially, you likely can't afford it. Okay, that's the rule. So if you're trying to finance a car and somebody's telling you, oh well, if you could get a lower note, but you're just going to have to pay on this car for 7 years. You can't afford that car. And you're going to find yourself, like I mentioned earlier, upside down in a loan. And the reason you're going to be upside down in a loan is because you stretched out the loan for so long that the car starts to lose value faster than you can pay it off. So you don't find yourself in a position where you owe less than what the car is worth. You find yourself in a position where the car is going to continue to depreciate. And by the time you may be looking to get a new car, maybe 4 or 5 years in, you're going to be so far and upside down in that loan, nobody's going to want to take it in. They're going to say, well, we can't roll over, $11,000, into a new loan. Like, that's unheard of. So you want to be able to make sure that you know how to negotiate what you have and not expose your cards too soon. Because I'm telling you, these car dealerships these days, many of them are trying to sign people up for 72-month loans, 84-month loans, and people are finding themselves upside down in these loans, paying $500, $600, $700 for not enough car, and you're going to end up with what they call negative equity. That's what upside down in a loan means. It means you owe more than what the vehicle is worth. So you're going to find yourself with negative equity. Now, one thing to keep in mind, your car is going to depreciate the minute you drive it off the lot. The minute you drive it off the lot. So if you're going to make an investment, you want to make sure that you make an investment that protects your interest in the car before you drive off the lot. So if you can find something closer to within your budget, you have a better chance of being able to still have value in your car that works for you before you go to look for a new car if you want to continue to finance. So again, if they try to talk to you about 72-month loans, 84-month loans, A, you can't afford the car, and B, that lot is trying to take advantage of you. That's just that they should be telling you about negative equity, but because they make a lot of money in the financing area of selling a car, that they're not going to want to talk to you about negative equity because it goes against what they're trying to get from you, which is more money. So I see Mailman in the chat. Mailman said the car is never worth more than what you finance for. The moment it leaves the lot, the car loses about 20% of the price. Now, you are absolutely right, Mailman. And one thing I want to point out, in my particular situation, I had a vehicle that is pretty popular on the lot. So not only did I owe way less than what the car was worth, I was able to name what I wanted them to give me for my car. So because they wanted my car so bad, I was able to say, yeah, well, give me $10,000 for it. And they did it. So that's the advantage of knowing the value of your vehicle. Sometimes we look at the Blue Book value of a car and we don't account, Blue Book value, I don't think it takes into account popularity. So the popularity of cars can add value to it because more people want it. So I had a popular car where I could have really asked for a lot more money, but rather than, go overboard, I just did what I needed to be able to drive out in a new car. So in about 2 hours, we had a good deal. I drove out in a new car, but I had to make sure that I knew how much my car was worth. I knew how much I owed on my vehicle versus what the car was worth. And I was able to keep myself out of one of those dangerous negative equity trapping 72-month, 84-month loans. These dealerships make their money and their bones in the finance department. Now, I know a lot of times people are like, oh, you could do better paying cash for a car, and everybody can't pay cash. So if you have to finance a car, you should be prepared to understand what they're going to try to throw at you. Now, just a little tidbit. I had someone in this process when we were trying to close. They wanted to throw in different fees. You got conditioning or car reconditioning fees, which is them trying to charge you to clean up your car to put it on their lot. which no, we're not. You're going to do that anyway because you want to sell it. So no, I'm not paying for that. Another one is gap insurance. Now I've heard two different things for what gap insurance could be. And they want to sell you gap insurance, because you're upside down in your loan. And in order to cover the spread of what you owe versus what the car is worth, you need to get this gap insurance. So we're just going to charge you for this and add it onto your payment each month for the length of your loan. Well, the problem with them adding these insurances to your note every month is that you end up with interest being paid each time you pay your note. So you're paying interest on whatever this insurance is as well. So if you know, again, that your car is worth more than what you owe on it, you have no need for this gap insurance. Now, sometimes they'll tell you that this gap insurance covers some other spread that you're not able to cover by not having cash. Don't fall for it. If you know the value of your car, you know what you bring to the table, and you understand that you should not have to pay any additional monies if your car is worth more than what you owe, you don't need these additional fees. Now, there was another one I was going to bring up too. You should also make sure that before you leave the lot in a new car, you have a full tank of gas. Now, if they're going to sell you a car, the least they could do is put a full tank of gas in there. Don't send me out the lot and I got to go straight to the gas station. Make sure when you get the test drive on the vehicle that you're looking at, check the tank and negotiate that into what you want when it comes to your vehicle. So, keep these things in mind so that you don't get taken for a ride. Pun intended, when it comes to buying a car, because a lot of times these lots are just, they have their focus on money and they're not really interested in the longevity of what goes on with the actual customer and having this car. They're trying to meet quotas and things like that. Now, my chat is active, so let me slide over here to see what you guys are talking about. Mailman is keeping the chat going. He said, but it's crazy if they somehow get your car back, they will mark up that 20% when financing to the next person. Now, Mailman, you bring up an excellent point, because again, when you know the value of your car, you have to understand two things. If these people, now they sent me a letter, we understand you got an 2016 to 2018, and we'd like to buy it. They already know that there's a value in your car. Okay. So they want it, and they know that, again, there's value there. So use that to your advantage. Use that to your advantage, because if you are going to get a vehicle from them, let's say you're bringing in your vehicle, you're using it as a trade-in because you know that your vehicle is worth more than what you owe, they're going to get the money off of your car when they go to refinance it because, hey, they saw the value. And they're also going to get the money on the new deal they make with you on a car that you get in to replace the car you're trading in. They are cleaning up. So don't be afraid to throw your number out there, because, again, they see a value that you might not see. But again, if they sent you that letter and say, we'd like to make an appointment, take a look at your vehicle, see if there's something you want to, get, understand that the ball is really in your court, and it's definitely going to depend on how you play it. But do not be so eager to tell these people your social security number and the amount that you owe on your vehicle. Make them tell you what they're going to give you for your vehicle. And the minute that they tell you a number, they say, okay, we'll go ahead and give you $5,000 for it. Make them put it in writing. Make them put it in writing. At that point, they're going to be pressing you to see, well, what vehicle of ours do you want if we're going to give you this? Because they don't really want to cut you a check for your car. They don't want to see you walk out of there without getting a vehicle from them. So again, have your strategy together. Make sure you know your worth and your negotiation points, and stick to your guns. One thing that I was able to be a whole experience in was yesterday. My better half and I were sitting there, and they were trying to push us into a car note that was it didn't make sense. It was trying to have me upside down and alone. So, my better half's like, no, let's go. Bye. You're not trying to meet our needs. We're leaving. And, although I didn't really want to go, I found that being able to push that button when people are trying to push your buttons, especially when they're negotiating something that they want from you, you got to be willing to walk away. It's kind of like that Robert De Niro Heat moment, you don't walk up to a deal you're not willing to turn around and walk away from in 5 minutes. And the reason that is because they will try to pressure you to get something that's going to be non-beneficial for you in the long run. They're going to blow the commission on what they're selling you in Barbados and in Turks and Caicos with their families. They don't care that you stuck in this loan trying to figure it out. So it's gonna be to your benefit to make sure your negotiation tactics are intact. I had a good time in this discussion with the sales team at the car dealership. We enjoyed the conversation, and I think that they appreciated the challenge of an educated buyer. So, just make sure you know your stuff, know how much your car is worth. Don't get into a loan longer than 5 years. 4 years is better, but 5 years should be max. Don't tell them right away how much you owe on your vehicle. If you owe less than what your vehicle is worth, make them tell you how much they want to give you for it first. And if they aren't willing to do that and they're pressing you, leave, because that's a big sign that they're going to try to take advantage of you. 2-1 has said, when you own more than what the car is worth. Yeah, exactly. So when you owe more than what the car is worth, then you end up with negative equity. So I'm hoping to give you some pointers here that help you to avoid negative equity. Mailman said, even if you have cash, dealerships will try and make you finance because they make more money on the car in the long run. That's exactly correct. And when you know that, and you know that you have a vehicle where it's worth more than you owe, then you know that they are going to try to push you to finance, because they're looking to get 2 whammies. They want to get the whammy of getting your car that they're going to turn around and sell for double what they bought it from you for. And they also want the double whammy of being able to get you into a new vehicle to replace the one you turned in and traded into them. So yes, you're absolutely right, mailman. They definitely make their money on the finance end. So the more you know, the better experience you can have in the car dealership. I remember back in the days when my credit was horrible and I was upside down in car loans, and it was just no fun. You had to be Houdini to kind of figure out a way to keep yourself from drowning in a car note, because they'll gladly charge you $700 a month for a Focus, gladly. So you got to make sure you know your stuff so you don't end up in those situations. And I'm glad that I was able to live and learn and make better decisions when it came to getting a vehicle and being smart about how I finance it, if that's what I was going to do. So it was quite the experience, guys. Now we are definitely at the midpoint of our show. We're going to take a quick break. And after that break, we'll be back to dig into more of our Nacho. So I'm going to see you in a little bit.
A woman is the most potent expression of feminine energy in the harmonic equation of the human experience. Growing Down, an observation of the masculinization of the Black American woman. Volume 1. Get your copy at FiboNacciBrown.com.
In my mental. This wish a nigga was central. Make sure it's holy in your temple. You a vegetable when I'm in the room, and I'm vegetarian when I eat my food. Palms together when I pray on you, cause the chef about to use her favorite tool. Chop, cut, slice, dice. Shit, I ain't even got a knife. Seem like when I spell it in a rhyme, I cut a motherfucker up and serve him over rice.
You are now listening to the Nacho Podcast, brought to you by the EBL Network. If it ain't exclusive, it don't matter. It's not your time to talk, it's time to listen. So pull up to the table with your plate and pay attention. It's not your time to talk, not your Sunday. It's something different. This is not your opinion, and you don't wanna miss it. It's not your time to talk.
And we're back. I had to take a nacho potty break and get a little water. And with those things being done, we're going to dig into the rest of our nacho. Now, the next part of our nacho is going to be the beefy nacho. Now, the beefy nacho this week is where we talk about conflict wherever it may exist in the world. And on this week's episode of Nacho Sundays, where it's Nacho Opinion is Nacho's Opinion, we are going to talk about preppers versus non-preppers. Now, I know you guys are like, come on, Nacho. What are you talking about, preppers versus non-preppers? I'm talking about people who actually take the time to make food preserves, grow gardens, store food, think about things like how are they going to access water? Do they have enough medication if they are on medication, if something should go wrong? Versus people who are like, man, I'm living my best life. You know, they just, where's the party at? And did you see what I put on today? Don't I look good? And I'm gonna go drive the hottest this, that, or the other. There are people who just don't care. They are just interested in trying to live the best of every day. And, a prepper to them is someone who spends too much time in doom and gloom and they don't get a chance to live. And, they too serious about stuff. My question is, in the event that, things should take a turn, does a prepper have any obligation or responsibility to a non-prepper? Do they have responsibility to them? Because a lot of times preppers catch a lot of flack from people who make fun of them. They think that they don't, I'm not going to be no farmer. So they, kind of talk about them as if, something's wrong with wanting to make sure you know where your food is, where your water is, you have access to the things you need to live should things shut down or like I said, take a turn. We've had a few instances in our past that have told us we need to make sure that we are ready for certain things. And one of those instances was recently when the phones went down. AT&T had a whole issue where people were not able to text or receive or make calls. And some people were just, they were so upset they just thought it was a customer service issue. Let me just raise a fit down at my nearest AT&T store, and that should do the trick. And they weren't really thinking of it in a sense of, well, what happens if you really can't use your phone? We had another instance where there was a whole power grid that went out on my side of the world, and we didn't have power for days, like no lights, no nothing. Who was prepared for that? Because I can remember that although, there were a lot of people in my neighborhood trying to find ways to stay cool, because if I'm not mistaken, this happened when it was hot outside. We had people who were doing barbecues. We also had people who had generators, but we also had people who were like, I'm going to go over to my big mama's house, all my family going over there. We just going to stay there until everything blows over. But then that means using up a lot of big mama's resources. So we've had some instances in the past where we've had to rely on, things that didn't involve electronics or lights. And here we are. Are we as preppers? Should we be responsible on a moral level for people who don't prep? Should we be like, well, I'm not going to let my neighbor go hungry, even though they know, that you got to eat every day. You got to do this, you got to do that. My neighbor's living day to day, and I've been trying to stack up food for the last year. Do you have a responsibility to look out for them? It's very interesting to me when you have certain people who don't rely on other people to do certain things, but then when it's time to deal with something they don't have, now they have this card they want to play on. Well, you should look out for me because, and it's like, all the times I was trying to say, hey, come to the gun range with me. Hey, let's go half on this lot of ammo. I don't have all of it, but if you go half with me, we can both split it and it'll be more than enough. Why don't we go half on a garden? I've been planting food my wife's been doing preserves, or, my husband's been growing corn, so we can, use all parts of the corn for different things that we would need. If you're not willing to participate in that prep process, you've been, out here looking good, busting bottles of, do they still drink Moet? What bottles they popping? They pop Patron bottles. Douce, that's the one. You out here popping Douce and Tito's, and you having a good time, and you don't got nothing for, you ain't got a bug out bag. You don't have a Swiss Army knife. You're not ready for nothing. Is there a moral obligation to those people? Now, my better half sometimes tells me, sometimes you just care too much. Sometimes you are just too nice, too sweet. You want to hug everybody and take in everything. You want to fix it and make it right for all these people. And you have to understand, sometimes you've got to put yourself first, because it's not going to be about other people. Other people will keep taking as long as you're giving until you don't have nothing to give. And then they don't have anything to give either. And I had to try to get myself to understand the logic of that. But you can't feed from an empty plate. So, you got your family prepared. You've been teaching your family. You guys are prepped. You got your camouflage on. Y'all a matching team. You got those little things that you can use to what do you call, like, freeze dry food. You get like a whole pack of stuff. You're ready. And your homeboy that lives down the street, who's he been throwing barbecues and he been throwing cabarets and parties. He ain't got nothing but a couple of bags of Mary Jane, some blunt wraps. He got some money. He got a couple of dollars, but systems are down, so nobody's going anywhere or doing anything. So he come knocking on your door. Man, you've been talking this stuff for years. I know you know what you need to know in order to get through this. Let me and my family come in there with you. Should you let them in? Is that okay? Because my thought process would be, you had the same time to do things that we had. You was able to go party. All the times I was trying to sit back, Netflix and chill, so I can make sure that my home was my sanctuary. You was in the club. You was riding up and down the street, skirting, doing donuts on all the major highways and byways. You burning rubber in your fancy car, and now you're knocking on my door because you don't know where to get water from. You've got a bottle of water that you had from last night that you was drinking from, to make sure you didn't get too drunk or throw up on nothing. And now the apocalypse happened the day after you was clubbing, and you want to come knock on my door like help, because I know you know this stuff. Is it fair? Now, I know some of you guys are looking like, Nacho, you can't just turn your back on people. But again, this is Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. And in my opinion, okay, I think you do better by trying to educate someone than trying to break yourself to divide your already sacred resources. You teach, you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. You teach a man to fish, he'll feed his family. And that's just where I'm at on that. So I understand that, some of y'all might think it's cold, and some of y'all might think it's a mean way to be, but you've got to think with your head and not your heart in these instances. And the long ball is to make sure that man can feed other people, not to just feed that man. So if you can teach them early, teach them early. Hopefully, when it's time to be able to display what you've learned, they can apply what you taught them, and they'll be able to take care of their household like you're taking care of yours. Now, I see Wayne is in the chat. Hi, Wayne. Wayne talking about, Nachi, we gonna rob you. Wayne, we don't just stock food over here. Okay, so don't try it. Love you. I know Wayne is being funny. Wayne is one of my favorites. He is also one of the artists that I am eager to put onto the Nacho Stand music. Wayne is always producing music. So make sure you guys get in touch with him in the chat to check out some of his music that I know is floating around the YouTube streets. And hear what he's got to say. He's got some good stuff. I love his music. So, you know, I want to be able to put him and other artists on Nacho Stand Music. So make sure you guys check him out. He's in the chat. Thanks for pulling up, Wayne. And I see Treehouse 2024 is in the chat. Big facts. Education goes further than enabling. You said a mouthful there, buddy. You know, again, I would much rather teach you how to do it than just feed you so you can be knocking on my door tomorrow. So if you're gonna make fun of preppers, don't knock on their door when your AT&T go down and the whole lights on this side of the country go kaput. You know, come over here. Love you. All right, digging further into our nacho, we are on to the beefy nacho. And I'm sorry, onto the veggie nacho. Now, in the veggie nacho, we talk about health. And this week, we are going to talk about the April 8th eclipse. What does it mean to your health? Now, I know a lot of chatter has been going on about this April 8th eclipse. Everybody is saying, you know, their fill of what they think is going to be going on with this eclipse. And some of the things that I've heard are this eclipse is going to complete an X across the country. I've heard that there was an eclipse in 2017 that was across part of this country. And in 2017, that eclipse just so happened to cross through towns that had the name Salem in it. And I've been told that in connection with the eclipse that's going to happen on April 8th, those towns that will be covered or covered in that eclipse will be towns that are related to Nineveh. Don't ask me what that means. However, it's going to form an X, and where this X intersects is going to be in Illinois in the area code of 618. Surrounding this area code is also said to be a circadia infestation of two kinds that hasn't happened in several hundred years. Now, circadias, from what I understand, are what we might think of as locusts. They eat food, ruin crops, and apparently when you're trying to get rid of them or get them out of your house, they scream. They are very loud bugs, and they are a headache to deal with, from what I understand. I've also heard that this eclipse marks the start of a series of events that are reminiscent of what we might have seen in the Bible. So with all of that, some concerns come to mind. I've been told that this eclipse is going to trigger 3 days of darkness where you won't be able to see anything, you won't be able to see much. You won't be able to move around much because you can't see where you're going, and that only certain enlightened people will be able to move about in this time. And you had to already be on that bandwagon before now. I've also heard that this is a trigger of where the moon has been able to be visible to us facing a certain way. It will begin to face another way, where the crescent moon would either be on the right or left of the moon. Now we're seeing it where showing up on the bottom of the moon. My concern is that, let's say that this eclipse that everybody's getting ready for, that is getting a lot more talk than I've seen any other eclipse get in the past. We do get 3 days of darkness. We do go down. We don't have electricity. Are you prepared? Again, when we were talking in our beefy nacho with preppers versus non-preppers, you know, something happens during this eclipse. That's right around the corner. You know, the eclipse is supposed to take place on the 8th. So if this is setting off a series of events, are you prepared? Do you have enough food to even get you through 3 days? You know, I think the rule is to stock up for as many months as possible. But, you know, do you have 3 days of food? Are you just going to hack it until the lights come back on? What do you plan to do during that time? Are you stocking up on meds, ammo, water? When people get desperate, they do desperate things. And I was talking with a friend not too long ago, and one of the things they mentioned to me is that they don't particularly like guns. They're not a fan of ammo or needing ammo. I just don't carry myself in a way that I think I will need those things. And it sounded very familiar of how I used to carry myself. But one thing I had to realize is that people are very different when they're hungry. People are very different when they are desperate. And people who you think will turn into people you don't know very quickly when it comes to what they think they should be entitled to of yours in a desperate situation. So where you might not think it's necessary to protect yourself with arms and bullets and ammo, I would ask you to reconsider. We've seen a lot of movies. We've seen The Purge, Walking Dead, and all of these situations where you can see desperate people. And with those people being desperate, they did things that they may not have done if we were just in our regular humdrum of a day. So I encourage you to be prepared to protect yourself and understand what it means to have something to protect. You need to be able to eat. You need to be able to drink water. You need to be able to protect yourself from infection, cuts, sickness, certain things. And in doing that, it may require that you have arms, and it doesn't make you a bad person. I have my CCW. You're not a bad person because you have that. You just understand that there are consequences to certain things, and there's nothing wrong with being prepared. So my nacho veggie, or my veggie nacho to you in the sense of health is with this eclipse coming, let it put a fire under you that will push you to have some preparatory things in the event that something unforeseen should happen. Do you have a generator? Do you have gas for the generator? Do you have something to eat? Do you have dry foods? Do you have things that can keep your nutrition up when you can't go to the grocery store, when you can't go to the corner store, when you can't go to the gas station? Do you have water? It's not about walking up the street to the gas station and getting a bottle of water. I mean, do you have water to bathe? Do you have water to drink? Do you have water to wash your dishes, your clothes? Being able to have these things, it makes a good plan better when you're able to put the resources to your plan. So with respect to your health, if you want to be able to take care of yourself in a time where there are no lights, there's no electricity, there's no heat, have the things you need to have. Do you have a bug out bag? What if you have to leave your house? You can't stay home. You got to get moving. Do you have a bug out bag? Do you have a bag you can grab, put it on your back, and get hiking? It's got all the stuff. You got stuff in there to make a tent. You've got stuff in there to stay dry. You got an extra pair of socks. You got toothpaste. You got women. You got sanitary napkins. You got dry foods. You have urination bags. You've got things in your bug out bag that you can use to sustain yourself, whether you have to be in or outdoors. So in order to take care of yourself and you protect yourself, let this eclipse give you a deadline to make sure you are prepared. And that way, if absolutely nothing happens past the 8th of April, great. But if something does happen, be prepared. And in talking about being prepared, we are going to slide into the Nacho Supreme, which is the knowledge nugget of our show, where we talk about things to help us get through this thing called life. And in the knowledge nugget, I'm sure that if you haven't been able to catch on to the theme throughout the rest of this Nacho, the Nacho Supreme in season 2, episode 7 of Nacho Sundays is going to be stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Okay. I'm pretty sure you might have caught on that I was going to be heading in that direction, but yes, stay ready so you don't got to get ready. He who fails to plan plans to fail. Make sure you have your steps in order. Don't worry about coming up with the plan in the moment. Be already in a position to have a plan that all you got to do is work it. You've been planning so long, you've got your resources, you've got things set aside so that you know what you need. You don't have to worry about finding matches because you've got a flint brick that you've been that you put into your bug out bag. You know that you can make a candle out of Vaseline. You know that having a Swiss Army knife goes a long way in being able to protect yourself and take care of yourself in a sticky circumstance. You've got water for your family in case something goes on where the water that comes out of the faucet is no good. And I'm going to tell you about this faucet water. Some of these homes, some of these older homes have galvanized pipes, and the pipes in those homes are just truly disgusting when you look inside of them. And in addition to what your city may use to purify and clean the water before it makes it to your sink in your bathtub and shower, some of that stuff is not the best, and you can even smell some of the things that they use. I know sometimes in Detroit we can smell the bleach in the water, and depending on what's going on with your galvanized pipes, it can smell a lot worse. So, make sure that you have a plan for what you're going to be able to do. Think about what you do in your daily tasks, and think about how could you do that without heat, water, or electricity. Could you do those things? You're not coming downstairs in your bathrobe and house shoes and throwing the temperature up a few degrees because you're cold. No, you don't have that now. So what do? Are you dressing warm? Are you making a bonfire? Can you even go outside? Do you have a place to make a fire? How are you going to keep warm? Do you have a generator that can run a heater? Is the heater going to blow the voltage of your generator? Is it powerful enough? Do you have a generator that can run your fridge, or is it just able to support your phone charging? Be ready so you ain't got to get ready. Do some dry runs. I know my better half likes to call it dry fits. Make sure you got everything you need. Make sure you're thinking of as many scenarios as possible so that you can be prepared. Yes, the Nacho Supreme knowledge nugget for this week is stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. He who fails to plan plans to fail. And that is going to do it for our Nacho Sundays. Where's Nacho Opinion is Nacho's Opinion. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on this Sunday to see Season 2, Episode 7 of Nacho Sundays. And I will be looking forward to seeing you guys next Sunday right here on Nacho Sundays. So you guys have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you back here in a week. Bye.
You are now listening to the Nacho Podcast, brought to you by the EBL Network. If it ain't exclusive, it don't matter.